Good day, everyone. I'm Trix, of course, and today we're going to do a brand new series based on the Homeworld universe. We're going to look at the lore, we're going to look at the timeline, we're going to look at the fractions, but we're going to start from the very beginning with prehistory, and then we're going to move on into more recent games. Now, Deserts of Karnak, which was the latest released game, was set as a prequel, so its events date before Homeworld 1, 2 and Cataclysm, renamed Emergence. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go right back to the very beginning. There are things that are brought up in Emergence that predate other ones. For example, the spaceship Naggarok. Naggarok appeared in the galaxy from a neighbouring one at 1 million years Galactic Standard Year time, so minus 1 million Galactic Standard Time. The Naggarok is a spaceship which is classified as a mothership. It is armed with 8 large ion cannons and 1 phased dissembler array. So, the Naggarok journeyed to the Homeworld galaxy from a neighbouring system using an experimental hyperdrive of immense power. The ship emerged from hyperspace. It was carrying a malevolent form of life, which became known later on in Emergence/Cataclysm as the Beast. When the crew's vessel realised this life form was so destructive, they decided to destroy the vessel's engines and communication array, thus trapping the creature in the vessel and forfeiting their own lives. The ship launched its emergency beacon with a small sample of beast cells on board. That beacon was found almost 1 million years later by the Kiith Somtaaw. So we don't have much on the Naggarok, apart from its weapons, arrays, and its 8 ion cannons that are basically, if you've seen Star Trek, where they have like the source section and the beams can fire from anywhere around the disc. So imagine that, but from throughout the entire ship. The disassembler array is only front facing and it breaks down matter at a subatomic level. The Naggarok then harvests the matter to construct and launch nuclear weapons. The PDA, or phased dissembler array, is rather short range though, and it must remain stationary to fire it. The Naggarok has a reactionless drive system, which is very similar to another race called the Bentusi, which we'll come to a bit later on. The drive allows the Naggarok to accelerate almost as fast as a fighter, and it can stop at any moment. When the drive is engaged, it emits a turquoise blue hue. Although fast, it can be halted by an EM pulse. Now, the Naggarok is an experimental vessel, so it jumped from one galaxy to another, and there's not many vessels that can do that, and it's rumoured that the only races in the Homeworld galaxy were the progenitors, who were introduced later on, so we'll get to those a bit later. The name Naggarok is a reference to Ragnarok, the fate of the gods or the doom of the gods in Norse mythology, the ultimate battle between good and evil, followed by the destruction of the world in Norse mythology. Unfortunately, we don't have much information about the people who made the Naggarok, only that they tried to cripple the vessel and stop the beast from infecting other people. Of course, the beast did go on to infect other people and was eventually stopped by the vessel in Cataclysm/Emergence, which we'll come to another time. So that's it. That's my very first Homeworld video, where we talked about the very first thing in the timeline, which was the Naggarok vessel arriving in the galaxy. These are going to be varied lengths of the videos because some information we have more of, some we have less on. The Naggarok, we only have a very small amount of information. So I want to note one other thing, is the Naggarok was designed as an exploration vessel, not as a warship. So its primary function was to go from one galaxy to another. Obviously, while it did make the journey successfully, it did bring with it an evil form of, or malevolent form of life, which would become to be known as the Beast. Saying that, do I wish we had more information on the people who made the Naggarok? Certainly. We are extremely limited by what the Homeworld studio, I think it once belonged to Sierra, and eventually, yeah, it was originally published by Sierra Studios and developed by Relic Entertainment. It was later bought by THQ, and then was sold on to Sega when THQ became bankrupt. Relic is now part of Sega Europe, which also compromises Creative Assembly, Sports Interactive, and Amplified Studios. The people who make Homeworld, Relic Studio, are really good in their strategy games. They've made some really good ones. They've made, obviously, the Homeworld series. They've also been involved with a Company of Heroes and the Dawn of War series. The less said about 2 and 3, the better in Dawn of War. But there we go, you can't have everything, can you? So, thank you all for watching my very first Homeworld video. We will be exploring the timeline, the various factions, and the races that inhabit the galaxy. Next time we will be talking about the progenitors and their arrival in the Homeworld galaxy. So take care everyone, and bye bye.